We're going to go ahead and get started with our post-game press conference with Oregon. I'm going to ask Coach Lanning to give a quick remark, and then we'll open up the floor for questions. Coach?
Yeah, before we get into the game, first off, just want to recognize the people in New Orleans and how we're thinking of them, praying for them. There's no place for that in this world, and disappointed to hear that happens. And the loss of life is always something that you don't want to take for granted. So I'm hoping for some solutions there. But getting into the game, they clicked tonight, we didn't, and I didn't get our team prepared. And that's a great team. When you play a great team like Ohio State, you can't not be clicking on all cylinders. And they were clicking on all cylinders. We didn't really have the ability to stop them, and didn't have the ability to get something going for us on offense. And we haven't faced a lot of moments like that this year. It's an unbelievable team. Coach Day and his staff have done an unbelievable job there. Don't want to discredit what our players have been able to accomplish this year. We had a great team. We just ran into a great team tonight, and we didn't play our best. So credit to those guys. I'll say this about our team. There wasn't a second we stepped on the field where I felt like our guys were disheartened. They didn't want to give the effort to go out there and play. I just don't think we had a good enough plan as coaches, tonight, and we got to find ways to prepare ourselves for these moments, better as a coaching staff. But I love that team. I love that team in there. I love what those guys were able to accomplish. And what's tough is when you play great teams at the end of the season, somebody's not going to come out on top. And those guys came out on top tonight. Obviously that's a team I think that has the ability to go win it all. So proud of our guys. Certainly proud of this season, and disappointed in the night. If you're a competitor, there's no way you're not going to be disappointed in the result tonight.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the floor for questions. Please raise your hand and state your name and media outlet when asking one. Our first question comes from the front right here. The mic's coming to you.
Ryan Clark with the Oregonian. Dan, your thoughts on just how the long layoff between games between now and the Big Ten championship game impacted the guys in terms of how the game started?
Yeah, I think that's an excuse. I thought our guys prepared well going in. Obviously, they had a better plan than us, but that's an excuse. That's an opportunity that we had to recharge. I thought our guys did practice well. I'd tell you if that wasn't the case. I thought they had great focus. I just don't think our plan was good enough, and I think they had a great plan to attack us. So credit to those guys.
Okay, our next question will come from the gentleman right behind him. We'll just pass the mic.
Eric Scopel, Duck Territory. Dan, you've obviously talked about the growth mindset a lot, talked about this game and maybe some of the things that didn't go right. What do you learn from this and maybe things that you need to adjust going forward? Yeah, we got to be able to adjust a little bit faster, right? There were some things that we were able to get going at points, throughout the game. We didn't adjust fast enough, and it's tough when you play a team that doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, right? They got strengths, right? Their wideouts were creating a lot of success, down the field, and then their ability to run the ball, right, makes them a dangerous team. They didn't make mistakes in special teams. You need some of those things to bounce your way. And then, offensively, we struggled to get a first down, early on. And, I thought Dylan did an unbelievable job there at the end of half, creating a spark for our team. But a lot of those weren't natural plays. It wasn't like the first read was there. It was this guy, busting his tail, and guys like Trayshawn and the O-line fighting like crazy to extend plays and, create those moments. And we just didn't have enough of those moments tonight.
Our next question comes from Pat Fording in the middle.
Thank you. It's for Dylan. What were you hoping to do game plan-wise that they took away from you guys?
You plan to create explosives, be really good on situational football, and move the chains that way. We just didn't do that on third down, and they had a great plan, like Coach said. But if you don't go get the third, then you can't move forward,
Our next question comes from the back right.
Hello, Rashawn Haylock, KTLA 5. This is for Coach. How was Ohio State able to execute differently offensively tonight versus when you played them the first time?
Well, I think they were able to find some shot opportunities. They caught us in a couple coverages that gave them the chance to have success. And you can decide, okay, we're going to try to pressure, and that's still going to leave some one-on-ones. But they got us in some situational checks, some stuff that was, successful, and they have great players, right? I mean, they have some guys out there that made plays, and you have to give those guys credit.
Our next question comes from the green jacket right there.
Zach Neal, USA Today. Dan, a lot of teams, when they fall down 34-0, they, roll over. You guys didn't. You kept fighting. You scored in the next two possessions. What does that say about your team and kind of the mentality that they have?
Just that, if you give them a great plan, that they're going to have the chance to go out there and execute at a high level. And they got a lot of fight. Like I said, I thought our guys fought all night. There's probably even more opportunities where I could have given them a chance to fight, and I didn't do a great job of that. But those guys went out there and battled every second tonight.
Our next question comes from the middle. Luca right there.
Luke Evans, Orange County Register. Dan, just what makes Jeremiah Smith so tough to stop? What didn't work with the game plan against him tonight?
Yeah, he's strong. He attacks the ball in the air as well as any receiver I've seen. I mean, the guy's NFL ready. He's that talented. He's very special. And, Will Howard did a great job of getting the ball to him tonight. And he's tough to defend. He's physical. He's got all the tools. So, really talented player.
Our next question comes from the back. Yep. On the right side.
Matt Preem, 24/7 Sports. Dan, how do you use this game as fuel for motivation, but at the same time know that this team went 13-0 prior to tonight?
We're probably not there yet. There's disappointment, but I talked to the team, about life in that locker room and how grateful I am for the opportunity to coach this team. I love these guys, and they put it all out on the field for us, blood, sweat, and tears. But, adversity happens in life. And we're going to get an opportunity, in life, to continue to attack and move forward. And I know there's a lot of winners in that room, right? And there's guys that are going to have a chance to go on in life and be great fathers and great husbands. I hope they saw those examples here on our team. They're going to be great business leaders. They're going to be great NFL players. And they gave their heart and soul for us. So to me, it's not about, getting knocked down. It's about when you get back up and what you do next.
Our next question comes from the gentleman with the khaki shirt.
It's more of a taupe, really. Dan, Bill Orm with the Oregonian. Dan, Evan was such a weapon for you guys in the first matchup against Ohio State. Sounded like something happened pregame. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit on what happened with him and what did you miss most about not having him?
Yeah, he's a dynamic player. He's been great for us all year. Kind of got tweaked in pregame and had been able to practice, but had been somewhat limited. But we thought he was going to be, a potential go and. Leaned on the side of protecting the player. In that situation, I think if you ask Evan, he want to be out there on the field. But you don't want to put him in a situation that it's not going to be safe for him. And he's certainly been a dynamic piece for us all year and would have loved to have him out there for us. But grateful for what he's been able to do for us this season.
Next question comes from the gentleman in the brown in the front.
Josh Peter with USA Today. Dan, why do you think Ohio State struggled the way they did against Michigan, and do you see any significant adjustments they've made since then to get things turned around the way they have?
Sometimes it's not your day, and I think that was us today, right? It wasn't our day today, and it wasn't their day, against Michigan. But what's unique about college football right now and this dynamic is you got to be playing your best ball at the end. And I think anybody that's watching Ohio State recognizes they're playing really good football.
We have time for 2 more questions. The next one will be one on the front, left-hand side.
Jordan Mendoza, USA Today. Jeffrey, what were you seeing out of the Ohio State offense that was really just causing you guys some issues in the first half?
Yeah, overall, I think that they did a good job taking shots early on. Like Coach had said previously, they caught us in some coverages, where receivers were able to get open downfield, right? And then as well as their offensive line, I think that the offensive line, with the injuries that they had in their room and, a lot of moving parts and pieces, I think they did a good job, just up front as well. And then, of course, the quarterback, I think he did a good job, just getting the ball to his receivers, commanding his offense. So, yeah, they were just firing on all cylinders, and, credits to them.
Okay. Our last question will come from the gentleman in the jacket right there.
Pella, you got ESPN. Dan, obviously you guys won the Big Ten title and you had to face Ohio State in the first round. There's been a lot of talk about the CFP format and that changing, potentially changing going forward. What was your thought about the path that your team had, maybe compared to other teams?
We had an opportunity. We didn't take advantage of our opportunity. I'm not going to make excuses for our opportunity, right? And ultimately, you got to be great teams to be in position at the end of the year, and we didn't do that. This is the road that we had to travel, and they did it better than us tonight. So no complaints for us for having that opportunity. They just took advantage of it, and we didn't.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate your time, Coach Lanning and Dylan and Jeffrey.